everything about it is authentically Tudor. Now, the Tudors' notion of a garden was really quite fundamentally different from ours. Ours largely shaped, conditioned by that 19th century parkland ideal. A garden that's something that's open and exposed. For the Tudors, just the reverse. A garden was a sanctuary. So the plants that you find here are the sort of plants that you would have found in a Tudor garden. The arrangement is typically Tudor. Everything authentically Tudor, right down to the size, shape, and color of the chevron brick pattern that you're standing on. Tudor bricks are always much smaller, and there's a very interesting reason for this. In the old days, bricks were sold by the job lot of 1,000. So if you're building a house that's going to require 8,131 bricks, you got to buy 9,000 bricks. So this is a means of increasing their sales. But there's another advantage to them as well, and that very simply is that it requires less fuel to fire small bricks than it does big bricks. So Tudor bricks are always much smaller. You go to Hampton Court, and you're going to find bricks this size. I like to think of London. There's many ways of thinking of it, but you know, there was a ring of fire around it, and that ring of fire was caused by the kilns from the brickworks. That's the kind of thing that they went up. Shakespeare went up Ludgate Hill, and he looked north. He will have seen that ring of fire surrounding London. Wheel of fire is the phrase that King Lear uses. Anyway, if you leap forward in time to the second half of the 18th century, and if you momentarily leap across the Atlantic Ocean, everybody knows about the tax on tea and the Boston Tea Party. What almost no one knows is how Lord North, he was the Prime Minister of the day, how he paid for his little military misadventure. All those red coats. By the way, do you know why the British soldier was always clad in a red coat? Abigail? It was to disguise the blood. He's wearing a white coat and he's hit by a ball. The breast is going to blossom bright red. It lets the enemy marksman know that he's on target. It also has a terribly demoralizing effect on the other British soldiers in the line. For the same reason, Nelson had the ships, the decks of his ships, painted a bright red to disguise the blood. So anyway, how does Lord North pay for all those red coats? He puts a swinging tax on brick. 12 shillings and 6 pence per 1,000 bricks. Now, what was the response of English brickmakers? They made the bricks much bigger in order to reduce the size of their tax, to reduce their tax burden. Simple as that. So in a sense, every brick in this country has the signature of the American Revolution on it, because they're all going to fall on one side or another of that 1770s divide.